Let's face it, your current taste in music needs a shakeup.
You're a basic bitch.
But that's okay, because it's that time again to put on our big boy pants and check out the best metal albums of the month, many of which I bet you haven't heard but are going to love. First up, we have Wake with Thoughtform Descent. Wake's last 3 albums have all been great listens in completely different ways. Misery Rites was just a straight up injection of violent brutality in the vein of Full of Hell and Napalm Death. Devouring Ruin found them expanding on the atmosphere for a more depressive, sludgy sound. And now with Thoughtform Descent, we get more or less their own version of melodic death metal with notes from Insomnium and Swallow the Sun. Tracks like Observer to Master and Swallow the Light in particular showcase Wake's newfound embracing of melody alongside the always bellowing roars. I was definitely thrown off at first when I heard the acoustic guitar and serene backing ambience take hold, but once again Wake have proven that they are much more versatile than I ever would have expected back when I first heard them in 2015. Next up is Ashenspire with Hostile Architecture. To the handful of people out there who know who A Forest of Stars are, this fellow UK band scratches that same itch for highly immersive and cinematic avant-garde black metal. The vocals are less sung or screamed and more akin to a particularly dramatic narration of a Broadway-style performance. Their chaotic insanity matched by the chaotic wailing of strings, explosions of brass, and rusty chug of the guitars. And also true of the very performative, story-like nature of the music, expect plenty of ups and downs, dipping into deep melancholic lows, only to ignite once more into blazing fires of contempt. If you like music that steps outside the box in every possible way while still providing a cohesive and rewarding experience from start to finish, this is an absolute must-listen. Then we have MICO with Zigurat. Hailing from my mother-in-law's hometown of Cali, Colombia, MICO is another one of those groups whose genre is difficult to fully nail down. With elements of death metal, post-metal, grind, and tech, they occupy a similar space as Ulcerate, Noctambulist, and to an extent Suffering Hour, with both bellowing growls and blackened snarls seeming to herald the end of times. The dynamics on this album are fantastic, with the moody, more atmospheric passages making the explosions of mathy drumming all the more craterous, not to mention a few other surprises along the way. These twists and turns are often unpredictable but always satisfying in their execution. I'm cheating a little with this one since it actually dropped at the very end of June, but why should a measly 2 days deprive you of an already overlooked gem? Now we have the one album I'd consider more of a mainstream release on this list, and that's Municipal Waste with Electrified Brain. My 2 favorite types of thrash are blackened thrash and crossover, and as far as the latter goes, it doesn't get much better than Municipal Waste. These guys have been getting rebellious with their punk and hardcore energy since roughly 2001, and they show no signs of slowing down with Electrified Brain. D-beat-infused ragers like Demoralizer, Last Crawl, and the title track are youth in revolt incarnate. Now I will say, even at just 34 minutes, there are some tracks I definitely like better than others, and it sags a little bit in the middle, but when the party's on, it's on, finishing strong with the impressive closing run of 10-Cent Beer Night to the highly entertaining Paranormal Janitor. Either way, it's been an almost strangely strong year for thrash, and this is just one more example of that trend. Then we've got Wormrot with Hiss. I've seen some of my colleagues really hyping this one up, and while I don't quite share their level of enthusiasm, this is certainly one of the better grindcore albums of 2022. At 21 tracks over just 33 minutes, it keeps a brisk pace and offers plenty of the high-octane brutality that the genre is known for, but also enough fun little twists to keep things interesting. In particular, I love the screeching of the additional string instruments on Weeping Willow. It's surprises like that that I appreciate most in this genre, and while it may not be at the same level of innovation as the latest material from Napalm Death, it's more than enough to keep me intrigued for more. Then we have Satyr with Totem. I'm always so happy to hear back directly from bands I've covered in the past, and Satyr have once again blown me away with their wicked fusion of math rock and mathcore. Think the blissful energy and noodling guitars of bands like The Fall of Troy, Good Tiger, and Dance Gavin Dance, who also dropped a pretty solid album this month as well. But the level of precision of these guys as a unit is impeccable, and always in service of fantastic songs like Haven and Attrition. Kind of like Astronoid last month, this is something a bit more positive and stretching what it means to truly be metal than what I usually cover, but I really don't give a fuck about that anyways, so if you make great music and it knows how to get heavy in one way or another, I'm going to recommend it. The riffs alone are more than worthy of your attention, so stop being a little bitch and just check it out.
Eat some shit, you stupid bitch. Just kidding.
But turning back to the extreme, we have Panzerfaust with the Sons of Perdition Chapter 3, Astral Drain. I've been really enjoying this ongoing series, and I see a lot of you in the comments have been feeling the same. Each chapter has been a little bit different, with this one falling on the atmospheric end of bands like Bluthaus Nord and Shamash. Definitely more of a slow burn, but that only makes moments like this one from the far bank at the River Styx all the more impactful. It's a moody, plotting conjurer of dread led by slinking guitars, cataclysmic drumming, and echoing hellmouth vocals. An unstoppable, expanding shadow snuffing out the light of everything in its wake. Flipping the script again, we have the Machinist with All Is Not Well. Time for some more crunchy metallic hardcore that I'd call sort of a cross between Vane FM, Venom Prison, and Sharptooth. Great mix here of big, pummeling, Hatebreed-esque headbangers and more melodic fare like Lysergic Lullaby, Hourglass, and All Is Not Well. The latter also reminding me a bit of that great Vexed album last year with its alternations between both styles and excellent vocal variation. I do have some constructive criticism in that the lyrics can occasionally get a little cringy, and the harsh vocals sometimes grate on me on tracks like Death's Embrace. But again, when this band is on, it's on, and they've got some top-notch tracks here to prove it in a number of different styles. Then we have Greg Puchadow's latest album, Mirrorcell. Just like Jello, I've always got room for the former Dillinger Escape Plan vocalist Greg Puciato.
Oh, come on, there's always room for Jello.
And here he continues his exploration of anything and everything when it comes to style. Never Wanted That is like a more bluesy take on The Cure, while We just straight up sounds like The Cure. Lowered features Reba Myers of Code Orange, and once more proves that it's actually Greg's more 80s pop-inspired songs that linger with me the most. Honestly, there are only a few heavy moments, namely No More Lives to Go and the increasingly unhinged vocals on the lengthy closer, All Waves to Nothing. But no complaints here, as Greg's voice is always fun to hear in a variety of different musical backdrops. Another solid album and great palate cleanser between the other stuff on this list. Then it's time for Mantar with Pain is Forever and This is the End.
I just pretend to be a slave.
In an alternate universe, Helmet went more metal after Strap It On and changed their name to Mantar. I could probably most accurately label this German duo as death rock, combining the harsh vocals of death and black metal alongside the alternative rock and punk instrumentation. I'm most fond of the piss and vinegar attitude of hard-hitting tracks like Egoisto, Hoarder, and Odysseus. More than anything else, Pain is Forever is about the angst, and songs feel less about the music itself and more about raw, nihilistic rage. It just so happens that the vitriol is set to a catchy beat and earworm vocal lines like "Come a-knockin', death will open the door," "Hang 'em low so the rats can't get 'em," and "Grim Reapin' Misery knows tonight." Who knew that misery could be so much fun?
Life is pain. Life is only pain.
Then there's Black Magnet with Body Prophecy. Praise be, we get another much-needed injection of killer industrial metal this month in a time where great releases in the genre are few and far between. Tracks here cover the spectrum from more Manson-esque ragers like Last Curse and Violent Mechanics, which played in the intro, to more hypnotic, slowly throbbing Godflesh-inspired material like Incubate and certain portions of Floating in Nothing. And speaking of Godflesh, Justin Broderick himself even provides a remix of Incubate at the end. Throughout the duration, you'll also likely pick up on notes of everything from Ministry and Nine Inch Nails to Killing Joke and Frontline Assembly. Highly recommended for those who still appreciate the machine-like clank of steel against steel in their heavy music. And then, of course, we have Imperial Triumphant with Spirit of Ecstasy. This was easily one of my most anticipated albums of the entire year, and fortunately not only did it meet my high expectations, it vastly exceeded them. Via Luxury has become a benchmark against which I compare many albums these days when it comes to the top tier stuff, and Alphaville was great as well. But with Spirit of Ecstasy, they have truly outdone themselves with tracks like Maximalist Scream, Tower of Glory, City of Shame, and Mercurius Gilded easily among their most mind-bending compositions to date. Zach, Kenny, and Steve continue to deliver on their usual promise of insane, jazz-infused performances, but with clear continued maturation in terms of their songwriting. And the flourishes of saxophone, trumpet, piano, and other instruments just keep getting better and better. You can check out my review for a much more in-depth analysis, but rest assured, this is one of the best albums of the year, and you won't believe the score I gave it, easily the best album of the month. You can also check out this playlist for more of my best of 2022 lists, and comment your favorite albums of July below. But that'll do it for now. Flight of Icarus signing off. I will see you in the trenches.